There was something about carrying a gun every day that then I started paying attention to things I didn't pay attention to before. Where I sat, where are the exits, paying attention to what this person was wearing, what that person looked like. I'm watching hands. All of these things start to kind of come into play because the last thing you want to do is have to go to your gun. My mentality is still very much run first, gun second, if that makes any sense. I'm a flight first person. And if you force me to, then I'll go to my gun. Now, that's depending on the state that you live in, you may be forced to always be a flight first person, then go to your gun because you don't have stand your ground laws. Whereas in some places, when it comes to stand your ground, you don't necessarily have to do that. I'm not judging one way or the other. I just choose not to have a body on my mind if I don't have to. That's just me. So I'm going to avoid going to my gun as much as possible. Until I just absolutely have to. Like, you're going to have to really have my back against the wall for me to do that. My first thought isn't to go to my gun. My first thought is, do I have my gun on me? Is the gun loaded? What gun am I carrying? Can I get to my gun fast enough if I can do this? Good point. All right, first, let's get the fuck out of here. That's kind of where my mentality kind of comes in when it comes to processing potential danger while I have a gun on me. Everyone's not like that. Some people are a little different. Some people go to gun first. As long as it's justified, that's totally fine. I'm just not somebody that's like that. I'm kind of more so of, I'm going to remove myself first. And if you keep taking away my ability to do that, then we can start talking about gunplay. Especially, of course, assuming that I have a perceived lethal threat of my life in play at the moment. And another thing you're probably going to start doing is you're going to start, depending on how active your life is, you're going to start buying multiple guns, or your gun's going to start progressively getting smaller and smaller. Because what you're going to do is you're going to start realizing that, initially mine started very big. Right. I actually tried to carry my very first gun was a Ruger SR40. Got a holster for it and everything, and I started trying to carry it. And it was all right from a carry standpoint. It was kind of big compared to what I carry now. But it's this weird conundrum that you're going to face. Do I go bigger gun, harder to carry, or go smaller gun, easier to carry, but less rounds, less confidence inspiring? I don't care what anyone says. There's something that inspires a level of confidence when it comes to being able to defend yourself when you have a bigger gun. If I have a bigger gun, in a perfect world, if I knew I was going to get into a situation where I had to defend my life, I'm not going to go with the Glock 26. I'm not going to go with a small Springfield Hellcat. I'm not. I'm going to go something bigger. If I'm going to go Hellcat route, I'd go like an Echelon. I'm going to go something full size that inspires me and gives me confidence versus something that's smaller and gets the job done from a carry standpoint, but doesn't necessarily inspire a lot of confidence. It's kind of like, I hope I don't have to go to this because it's not that great, but it is what it is. But from a day-to-day standpoint, it's kind of like if you're living a more dynamic life, especially if you live life in the city and you're constantly going to different places, you're moving, you're up and down, all this stuff like that, you're going to find yourself going smaller and smaller and smaller when it comes to guns. I consider myself exceedingly lucky. At the very genesis of me getting into firearms, there wasn't really much in the way of options in terms of guns that you can carry that were small for concealed carry. You had them, they just weren't very great to shoot. They were kind of what I like to call, at least I have a gun on me kind of guns, if I was going to go super small. Otherwise, you're going to have to go with something bigger. You're going to have to go something that's a Glock 19 size. So for instance, let's take this Ruger here, right? This is about a Glock 19 size gun. Right? Let's see if there we go. Yeah. So the 19 was always the kind of golden child, the staple, the kind of compromise between being full size ish and then being compact ish. But nowadays you have guns that are so much smaller now and then carry the same capacity. While still being ergonomic enough. And then a lot of times it's not even necessarily always going to be the guns that are smaller in terms of form factor and from a standpoint of silhouette. For instance, let's take this gun, for instance. Like this, the Reflex XL. The Reflex XL from a silhouette standpoint is pretty much the same. You look at them here. Look, they're about the same. It's about the same as the Glock 19. Only difference is this is slimmer. This is slimmer. So that plays a big part in it too. Like, and that's the thing about, you know, as you progress, you're going to start trying to figure out, you're going to try to find that balance between comfort and ability, right? You want a gun that makes you feel confident, and you want a gun, but also a gun is small enough that it's not making your day-to-day life hell. And I feel like I got lucky because I came up in a time where you do have guns like this Reflex XL. You have the ability to get these guns that are super small, but then you get them like with 18 rounds. Whereas before you had the Glock 19, it was like standard was 15 rounds. Now I'm getting a slimmer gun with 18 rounds, same size. It's freaking crazy. And then even more so, you get even smaller guns where you're getting closer to 15 rounds. Guns like the 43X and stuff like that. And so I grew up in the golden age. I came up in the golden age of the concealed carry guns. Like, I remember when the Shield first dropped, I was like, holy, finally it has happened to me right in front of my face. And okay, I went a little far with that one. But I remember thinking, perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for, the type of carry gun that can fit your life.